Consider the lie of vehicle registration. I make this video because I'm not going to give you all the facts, because you can go find them out for yourself. They're all over the place. But the fact of the matter is, the lie of vehicle registration is one of the many rights that we've had turned into a privilege. Vehicle registration is you having to pay for your right to own a piece of property. The Constitution says you have a right to own property, correct? So is not a car part of your property? And did you know that there are Supreme Court cases that say that if something is truly a right, not a privilege, it cannot be you cannot be required that you pay a fee to exercise said right, nor can it be required that you get a permit or certificate or any sort of permission to exercise said right. So when you pay for your vehicle registration, what are you doing? You're paying for your right to own property. Are you not? If the Supreme Court has said that you don't have to pay fees or require any sort of permission, whether it be certificate, permit, whatever, to exercise said right, you cannot be required to do so to exercise it, then what are you doing? And why do you do it? The simple answer is because it's easier to just pay the money. But the fact of the matter is, DMVs obviously are slow everywhere you go in the country. They're a waste of your time and money. You're paying for the pensions of bureaucrats who've retired from it and the ones that currently work there. Do you not realize that the gas tax is a far more equitable way to charge for the roads? Seeing as how the more gas you use, the more wear you put in the roads, because you drive farther than others. The less gas you drive, the less gas you use, and the less wear you put in the roads. Is that not more fair? And is it also not a form of income redistribution when people with newer cars are forced to pay more than people with lesser expensive cars? Are we not redistributing the wealth there by taking from those who have done well for themselves and making those who have less pay less? Why do we even pay this? Why does anybody have to pay for their right to own their property? Why? So let's get beyond that, because some people, I can see some of the class warfare people be like, oh, well, the rich should pay more. Let's forget that. Let's just go back to the right to own property and realize that you are being charged for a right. When the Supreme Court says that if it's a right, they cannot charge you money for it or require any permit or fee to be paid. And also, in Shuttleworth v. Birmingham, I'll give you this one piece of case law. The Supreme Court ruled that if something is a right, you have the right to exercise that right with impunity. If you're a law enforcement officer and you're watching this, consider what you do at work every day. You swore an oath to the Constitution to uphold and protect under all circumstances, to protect our rights in our country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. If you are charging people and participating in the practice of charging people and punishing them if they don't pay for a right, what kind of person are you? And are you not a domestic enemy of the Constitution if you are charging people for a right they have been given by that Constitution? And actually not given, is inherently theirs, because remember, all people are endowed by their Creator, which even if you're an atheist is an important thing to remember. We had atheists that are founding fathers, but they were okay with the line endowed by their Creator. Because you know what it said, even if you didn't believe in God, it said that when you were born with those rights. They were not given to you by that piece of paper. That's why constitutional rights is a phrase I hate to hear. I like the term or phrase inherent rights. Inherently yours because you exist. Sounds pretty awesome, doesn't it? So if you have an inherent right to own your property and to keep what is yours, why do you pay the government for that right? Because it's easy. But we always make the misconception or the contradictory terms, of like doing what's right is always the harder thing to do. But then we take the easy way because we don't want to go to the trouble to stand up for our rights. Contradiction in terms, conflicting cliches, say what you will. But the fact of the matter is, why don't you stand up for your rights? If enough people did it, wouldn't they have to listen?